The Sims has always allowed millennials to live out their wildest fantasies. Home ownership. But how essential is that to a Sim's life? Could a Sim viably live comfortably without ever owning a home? In this video, we'll be testing how much of a necessity a home truly is in The Sims by spending a whole Sim year homeless. I've chosen to do this challenge in The Sims 3 for two reasons. Number 1, The Sims 3 introduced an open world aspect to this franchise, meaning whilst one Sim was in the library in pursuit of knowledge, another could be in the park catching fish to provide for the family, whilst another could be at the gym, never skipping leg day. It was possible to never set foot on your home lot, thanks to no loading screens. And number 2, it's my birthday. And I want to play The Sims 3, my favourite game in the franchise, possibly one of my favourite games of all time. That's right, viewer, it's my birthday, so why not wish me a happy birthday in the comments, and I'll wish you a happy birthday in the comments in response. Meet Crunch No Home, local homeless man. To prepare for his upcoming homelessness, I have equipped him with traits such as loves the outdoors, heat, and cold, to prepare him for the upcoming months ahead. He's also a social butterfly, to make friends more easily, and party animal. Because it's my birthday, and if I'm not getting invited to any parties in real life, there's no reasons why my Sims can't. His lifetime goal is to live fabulously wealthy, because it's important to have goals in life. And the family one sounded like too much work. As many Sims games begin, a lot is actually required. Upon loading in, I fence it off and set the family funds to 0. Now the challenge can truly begin. We're far, far from the main hubbub of town, but next to the dump, which seemed fitting. Until I get some money, or stop caring, I don't want to use taxis, so I just sprint around the town from place to place. For the first few days of our challenge, our movements were erratic, random. No strict routine had been established yet. Where was the best places to sleep at night? Where could we escape the elements? Food! We could live and work as a firefighter, as the fire station held all the necessities we needed in order to survive, and we'd be paid for it. But that's too easy. Plus, we're homeless. How would we make an honest living with no fixed home address? This makes other conventional jobs out of the question too. Only cash in hand, under the table jobs for us, please. I wanted the park to be our centre of operations. Food, people, benches, toilets, fishing, plenty of things to keep our moods happy and making money. But with the pool for showering, the library for indoors and reading, supermarket for selling our fish, all a stone's throw away, the park was the perfect place to live and raise a family. Until it wasn't. I was eager to get the ball rolling with a potential mate for Crunch. But I remembered in The Sims 3, Sims are a lot more loyal to their partners compared to their Sims 4 counterparts. So I steered clear of Sims with the same surname, even if they were having marital problems. And pregnant Sims were off the table too. Which left no one. No one in the park at all. Still, friendship is important to make in life, and being a social butterfly, Crunch needed that. It was not quite the first day of summer, meaning the festival wasn't in town yet, and the park was simply base game. So for the rest of the day was spent fishing and discovering that there were showers at the pool. In order to use the amenities at friend's house without them getting offended and kicking me out, I needed to purchase inappropriate, but in a good way, reward trait, which cost 5,000 reward points. We still had a long way to go, meaning our trip to the Frio House brothers this time was mildly pointless, except for to get out of the rain for a couple of hours. And then spent the night sleeping on a park bench in the rain. At some point during the night, the summer festival had been set up. The picnic baskets and swings that were there the previous day had been replaced with a roller rink, football goals, and a hot dog eating contest. However, Crunch was far too hungry to enter and kept leaving the contest area to complain about how hungry he was. he'd simply entered, he would have dominated and won a plate full of hot dogs. I'm not sure why you'd want a plate full of hot dogs after just entering a hot dog eating contest, but this saved our family many times. Fortunately, a family down the street did not care for home security, and we snuck round and used their fire pit to cook up some marshmallows, then headed to the beach to grab a drink at the beach bar. The Frio brothers lived opposite the beach, so it was back to their house for the evening. They didn't like us using their cooking appliances, but didn't mind us taking a nap on their sofa. Or flirting with the girl one of them invited over. They did mind, I saw this later in post. During this flirting, which was going absolutely nowhere, we received a phone call asking us on a date. And as I was eager to get things rolling with Crunch's life, I immediately said yes, despite not knowing who this person was. Upon arrival, I realised it was the University Llama mascot we'd met earlier. She had asked us on a date to the fire station, which is a strange location, but we didn't have the money for anywhere nice, so I wasn't complaining. As with usual Sims games, the date ended with marriage, and she gave us 2,000 simoleons after she joined our family and we'd sold her car. We didn't need the money, we weren't going to spend it, but it helped with Crunch's lifetime goal. It was time to introduce our wife to our way of living, showing her the few things we'd learnt in the past few days, which was not much. To consummate their marriage, they entered a hot dog eating contest together at 7 AM to make their marriage official, like all good marriages should. Afterwards, it was straight into baby making time, because nothing gets you more in the mood than eating a plate full of hot dogs together. We couldn't woohoo in a bed as we didn't have one. We could woohoo in a shower, but there appeared to be an issue, probably due to it being The Sims, as they never seemed to want to. They were too distracted at the pool, by the pool, so we headed to the gym, where there was a different pool to be distracted by. We needed a shower without a pool that caused distraction. Fortunately, we knew two brothers with a shower and no pool. It was back to the Frio brothers' house again. After a successful woohoo session, we learnt two new things about our wife. After she autonomously flirted with one of the brothers, we discovered her lifetime want was to break 10 hearts. After stealing the toilet, we discovered she was in fact a kleptomaniac. A woman after my own heart. Fellas, get to know a woman before you marry her on the first date. We made the most of the rest of the evening by eating their hot dogs, sleeping on their lawn chairs, and vomiting on their deck. Ooh? I never noticed till editing, but the Frio brothers live in a real Mojo Dojo Casa house. Our next few days were spent waiting for the pregnancy to come in. Unlike The Sims 4, pregnancy tests aren't a thing. You simply have to wait to be pregnant. Because of the rain, we spent most of the day in the library, and I thought we might as well make it worth our while, so I had Jenna write books on the library computer. I was actually surprised that the computer was free. Unlike Sims 4, how we sold our books that we'd written without a fixed address, I don't know, but I like to think that we sold our books directly to the library itself. Because of the drama that went down at the Frio house earlier, it was probably best to not visit for a few days. But our only other friend was out. She was at the library with our wife, which wasn't helpful as I wanted to use the facilities at her house, not get to know her. Eventually, our pregnancy kicked in, and it was time to try and keep Jenna happy as possible by entering hot dog eating contests for the food, sleeping at the pool because of their comfy lawn chairs. After about 3 days, the baby was finally here. I named the baby Buster, as it felt fitting as I was watching Arrested Development on my other monitor, and for the amount of Arrested Development references this game has. Never nude is actually one of my favourite traits, and Sims team, if you are watching, please bring it back. There are literally dozens of us. Dozens! As the pregnancy only went okay-ish, we got to pick one trait for Baby Buster. He came with Easily Impressed, and we chose Love the Outdoors, as that's where he'd be spending most of his time. We headed back to our pool home to rest, and placed Baby Buster on the ground, where I'd hoped he'd sleep. However, it would seem babies cannot sleep on the ground. Who knew? This left me puzzled on what to do next. We couldn't return home. We're doing a challenge. We could try to find a home with a baby's crib already there, meaning we'd have to find a sim home that already had a baby and toddler upon arrival, which would be difficult, and who knows how long we could stay for. I pondered my options, and decided to make a creche in the library. I didn't feel like this was cheating, as we were still homeless and using the facilities the town provided. The library already had a small children's section, so adding a crib and a few more children's toys wouldn't look out of place. And so, baby Buster spent the first few days of his life living in the library, with the occasional visits to the park to lie down on the ground, and the occasional stranger holding him from time to time. His mother wrote books, his father fished in the park, they took shifts sleeping and entering hot dog eating contests. Life was good and simple for baby Buster. Autumn came, and with that came the changing of the festival and the aging up of Buster from a baby to a toddler. The hot dog eating contest had been replaced with an amusing pie eating contest. The football goals were now apple bobbing tubs. This game has a great autumnal vibe, makes you want to get a pumpkin spice latte, put on a comfy jumper and watch Gilmore Girls. Buster needed to learn toddler skills in order to age up well and for us to pick his traits. Walking and talking could be done just about anywhere, which we did, mainly at people's houses, as we'd finally unlocked, inappropriate but in a good way, for both Crunch and Jenna, which they often used to woohoo in other Sims' beds. But they weren't completely terrible guests. If they made a meal, they'd invite the whole family to eat. But without a potty, there was nowhere for Buster to be potty trained. I didn't put one in the library, because the library isn't exactly somewhere you potty train a child. And so, Buster was not potty trained. The coming of autumn had brought cooler weather and rain, making our pool home unlivable due to sleeping outdoors. But I'd done some exploring in this time, and by exploring I mean I crossed the street, and discovered the gym had all the same amenities as the pool, and more. Tables, lounge chairs, showers, toilets, but with a bathtub, and a fridge. There was also a TV upstairs, but I never went up there. Too many people, and workout equipment. I still used the pie eating contest as our main food source, despite now having access to a fridge, because it got hunger up quickly, and gave us a free pie. And it was funny! One of my favourite features of The Sims 3 is the ability to choose how long a lifespan can be, and soon, Buster's birthday came round, making him now a child. But due to the lack of potty training, we did not get to pick his trait, and he became a perfectionist. Certainly not the worst trait the game could have picked. As with seasons in real life, autumn was followed by winter, a season we should have been preparing for, but I don't know how, as this isn't a survival game. It's The Sims 3. It's not meant to be played this way. Disaster struck in winter. This seasonal festival featured no eating contests. Our main source of food had dried up. All the ponds had frozen, meaning no fishing unless it was in the ocean. It wasn't all bad though. With the deep snow brought igloo building, meaning we could now get a full 8 hours of uninterrupted rest, even if we weren't all together. I tested to see where I could build the igloo, and the best location was still the gym, with another in the office building next door, as it was only 2 to an igloo, not 3. Buster could now contribute to the family by helping his father fishing whenever he wasn't at school. He even contributed better than his own father when he entered an eating contest at the diner, gaining us 1,000 simoleons. Never underestimate a hungry homeless boy. He immediately wanted to spend most of that money, but I squashed the dreams of the hungry homeless boy. Meanwhile, with the hungry homeless boy's mother, I tried to put her klepto skills to good use by sending her to the Alto family to steal their laptop, so we could write just about anywhere, not just the library. But even with a handful of items in the room, she still stole the most useless items to us, including the curtains. Buster's money-making skills were better than his academic ones, due to the amount of snow days he encountered. I forgot, because it's been nearly 10 years, that you can still send a child to school, even if it's a snow day. and spent his first snow day fishing at the beach with his father in the snow, and he missed the school trip. I failed to see how that was my fault. The second time there was a snow day, I forced that child into school. You will get an education! Education! Knowledge! All childhoods have an end, and Buster would soon become a teen. I decided to throw a party, as so far my 2 party animal sims had yet to be invited to a single party, so we threw our own! I'd been interested in checking out the party place on top of the hill, so the party was held there after school for Buster. He rode his bike there to meet the rest of the family, and I don't know where he got the bike from. Buster hadn't gained any friends during his childhood, so the only guests that were invited were full-grown adults, even if they had a game of tag in the snow together. Crunch DJ'd at the party, and even gained a few tips. Maybe I'll try this challenge again, but in the big city, relying on just DJing alone. Despite his childhood, Buster actually aged up well. We got to pick his trait. I debated Angler, but eventually chose Mooch, so we could mooch money off other Sims. Even if the game's definition of large amount of money was questionable at best. I attempted to test if it was related to the amount of money a Sim had in their household. But Nick Alto was way too stingy to give a poor homeless teen any cash, regardless of how friendly they were. As spring came, the snow in the ponds melted away, revealing the lush green grass, and fishing in the ponds and at the park could resume once again. No more travelling to the beach just to fish. This festival did not have an eating competition either, and we could no longer build igloos for sleeping. But at this stage, we'd established a good enough routine where it did no longer matter. The whole family now had inappropriate, but in a good way. Our favourite place to hang out outside of the gym was the Alto family household. They were rich and had the correct amount of beds our family needed. Plus Vita was stuck on the fence for some reason, meaning someone was always home. They often kicked us out when it got too late, but by that stage we'd already gotten a good night's rest and were well fed. We would all head back to the gym, ready to take on the day. He may have been homeless, but Buster still won prom king at his prom. So despite not having a home, he was still able to make some fun teen memories with his classmates. I'd chosen Party Animal for one of Crunch's traits, and his wife also had Party Animal. This was not planned, I barely knew anything about her when they married. Yet no one had invited us to any parties. Art was imitating life. To be honest, I hadn't thought much about the parties. Once again, art imitating life. I had been so busy with the day-to-day life of survival whilst homeless, that parties hadn't even crossed my mind. When all of a sudden, that changed. Because we had frequented the Alto family household so often, just to eat and sleep there, they considered us friends, and invited us to a party at their house on Love Day. It was so exciting! Our first party. I gathered the family and raced to their house, also known as our second home, our first being the gym. We danced wildly. We chatted. We cooked food. We attempted to take money from our hosts. A good time was had by all. We spent the night there at their house as usual, till they kicked us out and we headed back to the gym. But then, literally the next day, we were invited back for a pool party. We went from 0 parties all year to 2 in 2 days. Real party animals, these people. It was a pool party, but Crunch was the only one who went swimming. The rest of the partygoers were upstairs, just milling around in swimwear, which was a little awkward. The rest of the family did attend this party, but used this time just to work on their needs, whilst the hosts were distracted by the other guests. As always, we were kicked out once it got too late and headed back to the gym together. We were nearing the final days of our challenge when a notification popped up. I'd never noticed before, but we'd only ever paid our bills once, so I decided not to pay them this time, just to see what the repo man would take, out of curiosity. When the time came, I headed back to our home for one final time, to find the repo man just waiting. Only for him to then just disappear and leave without taking anything. Because what could he take? Don't tell people I live like this. And with the departure of the repo man, it had become the first day of summer again. our challenge was over. It had been a whole sim year. In that year, Crunch had established a solid routine of eating, sleeping, work, leisure, and family time. He'd started a family who were all thriving at their selected hobbies and money-making ventures. He'd even made it a fifth of the way to his lifetime aspiration of having 50,000 simoleons in the bank. And he finished this challenge with a tidy 10,000 simoleons in the bank. Life was good for Crunch, and we found out it is possible to live happy and well, homeless, in The Sims 3. This challenge was a lot of fun. I love The Sims 3, and all its wacky, goofy content it provides. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Maybe we'll come back to the no homes and do another year. Or maybe we'll start over and do this challenge in a new neighbourhood, like Bridgeport or Isla Paradiso. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see, or just want to see more Sims content. I would have liked to get this video out for my birthday, but hey, these things happen, because this isn't the only thing I do, unfortunately. I wish it was, but maybe one day. Use your imagination that you were watching last Thursday. I apologise for my absence. It has been a while, but I appreciate your patience, and we will be getting back to my usual videos very soon. Subscribe if you'd like to see them first, here on the Blurst channel. But for now, I have to go eat my bluey birthday cake and play with my birthday presents. Once again, happy Blurst Day to you all, and keep being the Blurst. Goodbye! Oh, great, what's the wife's name? Jenna! Her name's Jenna!